Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. I always love coming into this space and listening and opening the show, listening to the intro, inviting the guests on the show and having beautiful, deep conversations about how we are being human and how we're living our lives and how we are instilling hope and being resilient in this global time of change. I mean, we've been doing this show now since 2017, Stories of Hope. And it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe, like it's 2025, what? That long. And it's still so important and still feels so good to do. So I want to introduce you to our first guest, Rossana Novaes. She's here and she's the founder and visionary behind Mindshift Thrive Global Ministries. She's a compassionate beacon of hope and resilience for those that she serves. A profound testament to her faith and co-creation with her Savior, Mindshift Thrive was conceived in 2023 following a divine calling that Rossana received. Through her journey of resilience, Rossana carries the torch of hope. She triumphed over two psychologically, financially, emotionally, and physically abusive relationships following her first divorce, which began in 2009. The testimony of her survival and thriving post-abuse is a testament to her strength and indomitable spirit. Welcome to the show today, Rossana Novaes.
Thank you, Kornelia, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so glad that you're here because you have built a ministry and you're leading a leadership in the new earth, in the new era, and you're a strength of beacon for your community. And so, tell us how that got started.
Oh my goodness. I will say from the time I was born, I think that God was just crafting me to present myself in this light that I never thought would be possible. So essentially, as you were talking, I was like, heaven on earth. That's exactly where I am today. But that's not where I started. So at the age of 16, I know we only have 20 minutes because we can go on for hours. Everyone's story is so extensive and it's so colorful, right? But at the age of 16, my mom opened up a business and she partnered with her sister-in-law who had experience and my mom had the capital. So I was along for the ride. My mom's like, you're going to help whether you like it or not. I'm like, okay, so this is how it works. And I was at the front desk. I was pretty much everywhere at the preschool, just collecting payments, bringing kids and families into the school, even cooking rice in the back at the kitchen and going to the supermarket and buying snacks and food for the kids. So all that to say is that I started at a very young age to become a leader. And I didn't realize that that's where God was putting me, right? And of course, I had no knowledge about the early childcare industry. In fact, I'll be honest with you, Kornelia, I wasn't even fond of kids. I was like, oh, they're annoying, they're screaming, they're crying, and they're having fun at the same time, don't get me wrong. But I just didn't know how I fit. But now I know why this all transpired. So fast forward, I helped my mom run a preschool for X amount of years. I'm going to be 50 next year. Yes. And I left the family business 2 years ago when I opened up my ministry. And it was a very difficult conversation, Kornelia. It was very difficult. Yeah. So for over 3 decades, I was running my mom's business.
Wow.
Yes.
Do
Yeah.
you think that, well, I think you already positioned it in your storytelling that all of that was training you to be able to hold and lead to what you're doing now?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think about, it's like I didn't have experience. I was thrown into the lion's den. And it's funny how experience does build resilience. And at the beginning, I had that low self-esteem. I didn't have the know-how. And it's funny, my mom had the capital, but she didn't have the know-how either. But we need both, right? We need some experience. So it was a great partnership between the both of them. And they were very successful at what they did. So they opened a couple more locations, and then I ventured out and I ran 2 other of her sites. And that was a blessing in disguise too, because I got to be more autonomous and I got to make more decisions on my own. I said, well, mommy, this is it. I've already been working for you for the next 15 years. If you want me to keep going, then it's going to be, I'm driving. Your
Wow.
passenger seat, I'm driving. Because I noticed that things that were going on within the business wasn't aligning with who I was as a person. So
Mm.
I essentially gave her an ultimatum. She made me a strong woman because she's a strong woman herself. So, hey, I got trained by the best.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, that's a great way to put it. So, a few years ago, so you've, you know, closed that chapter and opened up a new one. God was calling you now to step into your mission. And so, I mean, and then you had to close that. How was that? That was hard.
It was hard. As a matter of fact, I'm still consulting because my mom and I have a beautiful relationship now. It was a bit tumultuous at the beginning because I was a parentified child. So my mom, awesome as she is, she went through her struggles as a single mom, caring for my grandmother who was mentally and physically ill. So she was caring for her, trying to run the business, working another job on the side, trying to build it up. And then here I was as an only child trying to figure it all out. I still had my friends and I was dancing since I was 3. So I had my hobbies and I did well at school, but it was still like a very lonely place for me.
Mhm.
And I said, Mommy, I've been running your business for 3 decades. God is calling me to do something with just me and him. And that was hard because I ran everything, like all the programs, the finances, the inspections, and there was a lot of pressure, right? She's like, and she's already in her 70s. So I said, look, we have someone already in-house that was going to get promoted, and I've been working with her side by side for the past year. So it's been beautiful. And I do go to Miami from time to time, and I show some love to my mom and the staff and my friends and family. So it's been wonderful. It's like the transition has been so smooth, Cornelia.
That's so good. That's good. That's good to hear that the transition has been smooth and that, I mean, the way that you did that was very soft and caring while at the same time um taking the leap and going out of the nest now. Who's to say, that all the years that you've been getting your wisdom, getting your training, running your mom's businesses, who's to say, it needs to be a certain time. It was a chunk of time. And that's how long it took until you heard that call. When
Yeah.
you knew the call came, when you knew it was now time to make the announcement, to announce it even to yourself, speaking it out loud, and then taking the action to do it. So when was that call? What was the wording? What was the voice?
So I left Miami. I had no idea I was going to open up a ministry. I left Miami thinking that I would still run the company. This is 4 years ago. So remember, it was 2 years ago that I opened up the ministry. So 2 years in, I'm still working with my mom on site here in Atlanta. And from time to time, I would go to Miami, do a lot of Zoom calls, FaceTiming the directors and all that good stuff. And then something happened. I discovered that I had a tumor in my brain.
Oh,
Yeah, that was very scary. It was scary because no one in the family had suffered from not even headaches. It was usually like anxiety, depression, whatever mental illness we had going on, drama, and that was like commonplace. But like something physical like that, I said, I'm having like it started with headaches, right? And I wasn't sure. I said, all right, but this is strange. I've never had headaches, but something told me it was like a gut feeling that I had to get it checked out.
Oh.
And I did. I got it checked out and I saw a neurosurgeon here in Atlanta and he's like, well, it's a 50-50. It could outgrow you, or you might want to take it out because it's one of the most predictable, it's one of the most predictable tumors.
Mm.
And I said, oh my gosh. So you let me know what you want to do. I sat on it and I said, you know what? It'll outlive me. Nothing's going to happen. And I kid you not, I was in the process of, my father had passed away during COVID. So I was in the middle of rekindling a relationship with my family in Connecticut. So I have one brother and two sisters. And as I was making my way down the steps from one of my sister's homes, she let me stay with her to finally meet my other sister and brother for the first time. I had a seizure in the kitchen. And it was a grand mal seizure. And the entire family circles around me. My eyes are rolling back. I'm foaming out the mouth. They honestly thought I was going to die in my sister's kitchen. So 10 minutes, it goes by. It's a grand mal seizure. It's one of the biggest ones. And the paramedics are looking at me and they're assessing a lot of questions just to make sure that neurologically I didn't experience any damage. And by the grace of God, I'm alive today. Everything was fine. But as they were wheeling me into the emergency room because they were trying to figure out what I had, I knew what I had, but my family knew. They didn't know, right? Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah. And as they were wheeling me in, I seizure again. So it's 2 back to back. Okay. I wake up in Connecticut and the doctor's like, do you realize you have a tumor? I'm like, yeah, I kind of already knew that. Right. It's like, okay, it's time to get this sucker out. So yeah, flew back and get COVID right before surgery. It's okay. God sustained me, heavily medicated. And let me tell you something, Cornelia, those 30 days, of course, I was antsy because I wasn't sure if the tumor was going to keep growing or I was going to die within those, because I'm thinking it's an emergency, let's go. But they weren't going to operate me while I had COVID. And if I tell you it was the best experience, that God was preparing spiritually, it was like the most enlightening moment of me just getting at center and grounded with God every single day. I hardly slept for those 30 days. I was heavily medicated and it was trying to help me sleep, but it didn't, because this was a life or death situation. But it was preparing me. And you know what's crazy is that I'm not a plant girl, but I went to a nursery and I bought all the plants I could find, large 7-8 foot tall, already mature trees, fig trees, and any ones that I just thought were just aesthetically pleasing and attractive to, like what drew me in. And those were the things that were he was already starting to heal me using creation. So the plants, for some reason, I just enjoyed looking at them. I wanted to find out more about them, how much watering how I had to care for them. And it was almost like he was caring for me right before surgery. Just a lot of flowers and plants. I was even playing with Play-Doh. It was just strange. It took me back to the preschool times, right? Like, what else can I do? Just a lot of kinesthetic therapy, and then smelling coffee beans, just things of that nature where I could just like get grounded with
things
earth.
of the earth,
Right.
Like, nurturing, right?
Yes.
Nature, the elementals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then everybody's looking at me like, you just spent X amount of dollars on plants. Like, what is wrong with you? I said, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't want more pills. I don't want anybody to try to give me advice. For some reason, God wants me to connect with his creation. And if you're not okay with that, that's your problem, not mine. Because I'm about to undergo surgery. Leave me alone.
Right.
Yeah. So
successful surgery was how many years ago now?
That was 2 years ago.
Yes. 2 years ago. Okay. Yeah. And so, and you
2.5. So before, right. So I had this successful surgery. And then months later, I'm napping in my living room. Listen to this. I'm napping, and this was in January 2nd. And during my nap, something fantastical happened. And while I was napping, it was almost like between a dream, but not a dream, because it wasn't a dream. It was so real, where all these colors, different colors, where this is why my nails are so colorful and crazy, because now God has introduced me to so much color.
Yeah.
Like I feel alive now. It's crazy. So all these colors are
I
flashing.
have to say, you do look like a peacock in a beautiful way, because peacock is uh, the most beautiful royal energy.
Yes, I
So
received that. I received
yeah,
that.
receive that. I mean, that's what you remind, that's what, and your nails, even the color of your nails, they look like the peacock,
Do you
you
know what
know.
the name? You know what the name is?
What?
New Dawn.
Okay, great.
New Dawn. Yes.
Yeah.
And my name actually means the light of the dawn, Rosanna, and Persian origin. So I looked that up because when you're transforming, you want to learn more about yourself, right? You want to get in tune with all that. So going back, the vision with all the colors just splattering. And then I receive a song. It's a Christian song where the chorus says, "Go tell the world about me." And it's a testimony that Jesus was here and he's coming back. I knew the song. It wasn't my favorite song, but it was one of the many from the Christian radio station that I listened to. But it was just the chorus, and it was so loud, Cornelia. But it didn't hurt my ears. It was almost like you're at the front row of a Christian a concert, but you're not doing this. You're just receiving it all. And
Nice.
then, oh yeah, it was beautiful. So I'm listening to all this. The colors are still going on. There's a light like in the back. I don't see Jesus. I'm letting you know right now. I didn't see Jesus, but I did hear the song, and it spoke of him, and it says, "Go tell the world about him." So I'm like, what the heck? And then I hear my own voice saying, "It's okay. You can go now, my friend. It's okay." And I'm like, okay. I know it's my voice, but I don't see myself speaking to anyone. I just hear my voice. And then after that, the chorus comes back on one more time, and then I wake up. On that same day, Cornelia, hours later, my ex-husband calls my daughter, who was staying from Philadelphia, at our house and says that her aunt passes away. Her aunt passed away. So it was that night. A week later, I speak to her mom, my ex-mother-in-law, and she affirms that around the time that I had my vision, her breathing was already subsiding to the point where she was praying to God to take her, because she was struggling. She was battling with cancer. She had stage 4 cancer. And she had called me from time to time to receive prayers, to talk about God and how to connect with Jesus and all this good stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm here for it, whatever you need from me. And we weren't very close, but she would call me when she needed spiritual guidance. And it was just a beautiful affirmation and confirmation that heaven is real, that Jesus is real, and I'm here to tell the world about it. And here I am.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful the way you're an excellent storyteller too, by the way.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I do want to say that Jesus is coming back because I see Jesus in you.
Oh,
The consciousness of the Christ in you showing in you through your beautiful storytelling and everything that you're sharing with us today. I want to let the audience know how they can find you and your ministry and learn more about what it is that you do. Give us your social media handles.
oh yes. Yeah. So at Mindshift Thrive, that's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and our website is www.mindshiftthrive.org. So my ministry is essentially healing after partner abuse, because after my first marriage, I came across some very tumultuous men, and didn't know how or why or when, but just knew it had to be over as soon as possible because there was too much hurt and damage going on. And of course, a lot of confusion. So it goes back to that voice that you and I spoke of before the podcast, where like there's a lot of noise and people telling you or asking you, why did this happen to you? Or why didn't you tell me while this was happening? And there's a lot of shame and stigma behind domestic violence. And there's a lot of resources that I have on my website. And I've interviewed plenty of guests last year that I would love for them to check out those episodes, because they're powerful. They're powerful because they've seen the work of Christ in their life
Nice.
after they've left their abuser. And it's just testimony that God is real and he can do the unexplainable.
We have to have you come back to the show because your energy is so colorful and so electric that I definitely would love to have you come back, Rossana. I want to thank you. The time goes by quick. I want to thank you so much for coming on. And look,
No, wait, are you kidding me?
yeah, we're done. We are going to go to close up now and go to commercial.
Well,
And
thank you again. You know what? I don't even know you, but I love you already, and I wish I can give you a big hug.
hugging. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. We're going to go take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back, everyone. I can't wait to introduce you to our next guest, Dr. Stem. She is a renowned empowerment coach, author, and speaker. She's the founder of the Bounce Back Empowerment Conference and the Dr. Stem Empowerment Academy. Dr. Stem is passionate about helping individuals overcome challenges, build resilience, and unlock their full potential. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Cornelia. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, it's good to have you because you, as you know, our first guest was an amazing storytelling teller and also a wonderful speaker, as are you.
Oh,
So I'm so excited that you're here
thank
and you have a message that you want to share with us about when we want to give up.
Yes, yes. You know, last night as I was preparing for this story, I have so many stories. At 60 years old, you can only imagine how many stories that I have, right? So I thought, what story would be befitting of this segment today? Interesting enough, my full name is Sithembile Mahlatini, and
Thank you.
Sithembile means hope. And we are talking about stories of hope. So I thought, you know what? Let me talk about a story that most likely will resonate with a lot of people. And I thought to title it, Where There's a Will, There Is a Way, or There Will Be a Way. And I also said, Where there is a calling, because many of us understand and know that there is a calling that is upon us. We are here to serve. There is a purpose that we are here to do. There is also something that we are passionate about. So to combine all of that so that I'm doing what I'm passionate about and I'm also following the purpose and calling of what God has called me to do is the gist of this whole story. And it was 10 years ago. And I was talking to one good friend of mine, Rodney. And Rodney was coming, he lives in Washington, D.C., and we were coordinating so that we could collaborate and do a book signing together. At that time, I had an office in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm now here in Orlando, Florida. So he's talking to me on the phone and he says, listen, I'm coming over there and we're going to be doing this here. Let's talk about the date and everything. And he says, in the midst of that conversation, he says, guess what? I just attended a conference in California. And at this conference, we just finished preparing for a launch for an online platform that we are going to be using to launch programs online. I said, wait, forget about the book launch. Tell me about this program. What program is it? And he says, well, we're going to be doing programs where I can, do workshops and I can speak and I can but I'll do it online where I can work with people from around the world. Well, let me tell you, I'm from Zimbabwe. And as a firstborn of 7, I grew up being told that I talk too much. You are talkative. And being talkative was not a good thing. Oh, she's talkative. She asks so many questions. She talks. Even today, I'm told that I talk a lot. But that is my calling. This is the thing that I do. So I had wanted at that time, how can I reach the world and how can I speak to men, women, and people from around the world? It was always my, quest and also something I wanted. So when I heard him saying that, I said, wait a minute, do you mean to say my prayer is being answered right now in this moment? Because this is something that I would love to do. And I say to him, so how do I join? He says, it's too late. They closed out the applications already, so you cannot, join anymore. I said, what do you mean? Can I get the name of the place? I mean, what is it called? He's like, listen, we haven't launched yet. So once we launch, they're going to invite people, and now, join in. But we are founders. He said we are founders. So I am cocky like that, where I said, you know what, I am also highly favored, so I'm a founder as well, and I want to be. I want to be a part of this. So real quick, he gave me the name, the name, and he said, I don't have any contacts or anything. I said, don't worry, I will Google their platform to see where, what their website is. I went to the website. It's called Kajabi, the platform, for those of you that are listening and watching. And I went to the bottom. I didn't want to know what they did because I already knew. I already was excited about the opportunity to reach the world. So I went to the bottom and saw where it says contact. And I wrote the most passionate email. I am from Zimbabwe. I am here in the United States, but this is something I've been dreaming of. And then before I send it, I said a prayer. I said, Lord, may you make somebody with a heart open my email. I want somebody who's going to open it and say, you know what? Let's give this lady a chance. I don't know who it is, but may you send an angel. May one of them be my angels that take that. And then I hit the send button. I couldn't sleep that night because I knew without a shadow of a doubt that somebody was going to read it and allow me to be a part of the founders of Bounce Back, of Kajabi. They did respond to me and they said, ma'am, we can do that for you, but you have to be able to pay within a week, in 7 days, in order to join, this platform. I'm talking to somebody out there that has a vision, a passion that they've been waiting for. And then the doors were closed, or somebody discouraged them and said, it's already done, or you can't do it. There are already programs that are being done there. You are different, you are unique, and doors will open. Where there's a will, there's a way. So I found the money and I'm now part of the founders, for that Kajabi. So that's a story that I thought is a story of hope. It's a story of not giving up. And many a time when we pray or we say what it is that we desire to do, we wait and we don't see how it's going to be done. I say to you, if you keep that vision, that passion and hope, the doors will open, but pay attention because the angels are everywhere. The opportunities are everywhere. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Mind blowing. Mind blowing. So this is so good. And I think it's such a perfect time for you to come here and talk about this now.
Wow.
Because so many people, they've been working for a long time with their passions or whatever it is that they're doing. Some people feel defeated and feel like nothing's working, nothing's moving, and, it's not going to happen. We talked about giving up. And the way that you positioned everything and told the story, literally, I could feel the life force energy just igniting all the way through, activating. So it's, you're inspiring me. But here's where I want to clarify something that you said, because you said first they told you that the program was already complete. They don't need another person, but you knew you wanted to be a part of that. So, but not only did you have that hurdle to overcome with the way that you did it, but you also had to find the money.
The
Is that right?
finances.
Pardon?
I had to find the finances. I had to find the money.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, I had to find the money. But here's the thing, right, Cornelia? When you have the right opportunity and you wait, because the waiting is the most difficult, thing for many people, right? But when you wait and you have the right opportunity, the pieces come together. And the doors of the places, the people that you used to ask for money to do something else, or you used to, apply for a loan to do something, and they said, no, we can't give you a loan. All of a sudden, you go back to those same sources or new sources that come, and all of a sudden they say yes. And you're like, I asked you just 2 weeks ago, a week, but it's the right time and the right place, that happens and that make it happen. So today, like you were saying, right, we're talking about bounce back. And I know, you've probably read my background about bouncing back, right? When we are, we've gone through life and gone through life, and life will be lifing, as they say. It goes on. We lose out, we get discouraged, but then we want to change and transition in life. And then there's always a need for bouncing back. The story also applies to that, to those people that are in transition, because life is about transitions, different transitions, as we go through life. And many of us forget that those roadblocks are going to come. Those transitions are going to come. Even dying people will forget that I will be dead one of these days and I won't be here. So we forget to live life knowing that I'm not guaranteed to be here tomorrow. I'm not guaranteed to be here next year. So what is, one good way that I can make the most of this minute? Right now, it's about this minute, this moment that we have.
Wow. Like keep going, lady. Keep going.
It's almost like I want to preach, right?
You are preaching. It's like, yes, go ahead. Can I get an amen? Hello.
Yes.
That's so good. That's so
Yes.
good. So where are you working now? How are you serving? You're working with people one-on-one. How are you doing it? What are you doing?
Like I say all the time, I'm doing it all. I have a private practice. Thank you for asking. I have a private practice that I do virtually, in Orlando, Florida, and those services for virtual coaching one-on-one and also virtual counseling, mental health counseling services. It comes under my Global Training, Coaching, and Counseling Services Incorporated. But my passion is doing bounce back. During COVID, I was one of those people that was sitting in this house, single, no children, nobody, around me. And I was depressed. I went into a deep depression, but then, that didn't serve the people that I was working with, because then I'm the therapist. They come to me for anchoring. And I didn't know how, to move on and to bounce back from COVID. So for some reason, I kept praying and I said, Lord, if you give me a way to get out of it myself, I want to help other people to be able to bounce back. So I started Bounce Back Empowerment Services, but it was only to bounce back from COVID, and I started a conference, which started off as a Bounce Back Empowerment Conference that we did virtually, just to help myself, because I needed to connect with people. I needed people around. So I started it on Zoom and invited, other therapists and also speakers from around the world to speak. This year, we are doing the 6th annual Bounce Back Empowerment Conference. So we're going to be doing it in the UK, because that was my desire, to travel around the world. Last year, we had it in Boston live, and this year we're going to be doing it in the UK. So the Bounce Back is my baby. That's my baby, where I help people transition from life's, situations that we go through in life. But then we do it one-on-one, we do it in groups, and we also do it through the conference that we have annually every year. And one last thing, I am an author of over 50 books.
50
So
books?
50. And if you go on Amazon, I'm crazy about writing and reaching out to the peoples, because my heart desire is to encourage, inspire, empower people any which way that I can. And one way was through writing books. So I do have books on Amazon that, I will send you a link to update, because I don't think I gave you that. So 3 years ago, I decided, you know what, I'm tired of writing books on my own. How about empowering others so that we can write anthologies? So we started the Bounce Back anthology, where now we select 20 to 25 authors that come in and write a chapter. The first one was Bounce Back from Setbacks to Comebacks. The stories were so heart-wrenching, but heartwarming as well, that were written in there. Last year, we wrote From Dreams to Reality, Bounce Back from Dreams to Reality. Again, more stories were written. This year, we are writing From Struggles to Success. It's Bounce Back from Struggles to Success. Again, I'm looking forward to hearing and reading many stories from people from around the world. Can you tell I'm passionate about that part?
I can tell you're passionate about everything that you're talking about. You are just a fire.
I know.
passion. You are glowing. And I just want to say that,
Thank you.
you made an announcement earlier talking about 60 years old and everything. You look 40, if not younger.
Oh,
So
thank you.
must be, all the energy that you're just exuding, full of passion and
Thank
joy.
you. Thank
And
you.
so all this positivity that you're doing, it's really paying off and paid off, and it is successful and
Thank you.
inspiring. I want to let the audience know where they can find your links, like your social media handles, where they can find you.
Oh, thank you for that. I am everywhere on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, X. So Dr. STEM Be Encouraged is the handle. DRSTEM Be Encouraged. That's the handle that you find me on all social media platforms, or even just Dr. STEM Be Encouraged in Google. It'll give you all the links, as well there. I do have a podcast as well, where I'm always welcoming people that also want to be guests on my podcast. It's called Bouncing Back with Dr. STEM. So if you want to be a guest, I would be honored, for anyone that is listening today that would like to be a guest. We talk about bounce back. We talk about transitioning. So I always am welcome to stories of bouncing back as well on the podcast.
Yeah, I love that brand, Bounce Back. I,
Yes.
I think that's just very catchy. There's so many things you can do with Bounce Back, t-shirts, all kinds of journals, all kinds of fabulous things that you can do with the Bounce Back brand.
Did
Bounce
you
Back,
know? Did you know that I do have a boutique, Bounce Back Boutique?
I did not. No. No, it's just fabulous. I love that Bounce Back.
Yes.
It's perfect for right now. It is.
Yes.
Yeah, bounce
Yes.
back for the human spirit.
Yeah.
Bounce back from the living, from dying to being alive and
Yes.
coming back to this minute. When
Yes.
we speak of, creating and living in the moment, the word the moment has been spoken so many times that when we say in the moment, it doesn't even resonate that much anymore because we don't hear it. But now we need to say this minute,
This minute, I know. I know.
this
Because it's
minute.
about survival. It's about survival. It's about resilience, digging deeper and knowing that we have it in us to bounce back. We have it in us to live a life that is worthy. I call it my best life. We do have it in us, but again, it's going to take courage. It's going to take, us digging deeper, collaborating and having a community that we also, have support from, and also supporting that we are working together as one. That's why I appreciate being here today, because then it was something that came across yesterday and they said, would you be able to come tomorrow? I said, sure, because it's about this minute. You reach out to me, I have to move everything so that I can be there, because today was ordained for me to be here with you today, and I was not going to miss this opportunity at all.
Thank you for blessing us with your
Yes.
beautiful presence and your beautiful light and passion and inspiration of what you're
Thank you.
doing. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you.
And I definitely am going to consider coming on to your Bounce Back podcast. We'll be in touch
Oh,
on that. And
yeah.
then I would love to have you come back in the future so that we can listen to one of your other stories, because you said you have many.
I
So
have many stories.
yeah, yeah.
And you know what, Cornelia, I forgot. The website is www.bounceback.com or drstemy.com. And I know that wherever everyone will be watching this, you also have the links right where they'll be watching this show. So
Yeah.
thank you again.
Excellent. We're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. What a great show. It takes a lot for me to stay seated in my seat with all this inspiration and passion and joy. Our next guest today is here for part 4 of our discussion of integral wellness. Confidence coach Susan Axelrod is back, and she helps women rise with her whole life approach to intuitive business. A woman's intuition is not just a phrase, Susan says. She helps women in business for themselves to find their intuition space, to get confident about service and structure and grow the bottom line. Confident life coaching is not just a business name for Susan, it's her true purpose. She spent more than a decade learning about and then creating her own online business, and unabashedly shares her crowning achievements and failures to help women rise in confidence. Welcome back to the show, Susan.
Thank you so much. I honestly love that bio. Every word of it is true.
Yeah, it's so awesome when we can celebrate the words, our achievements, our victories, what we've created, what is written, and we can, this is how I feel about when I listen to the intro of the show.
Yeah.
And the show, that intro was created back in 2017. Many times, people have changed their intros or whatever. I've never wanted to change it because I love it so much when I listen to it.
Every time I hear it, I listen to your podcasts. They're amazing. Every time I hear it, I feel the same way. The energy is there and it's right on point. It was right on point for them. It's been right on point since, and it's on point today, to tell you the truth.
It is, because it's timeless. It's timeless. That's why it's timeless. Like, it's not going to run out of time. I think that energy, those words, that intro it doesn't need to expire.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just want to thank you for coming back to talk to us about, we've been talking about the integral wellness and the importance of having a holistic perspective in life. You've introduced a part 4 model where you started with the mindset transformation, getting in control of your thoughts, which create your mindset. You shared the idea of the mindset muscle with us. And then we also discussed emotional control. We had 2 episodes of emotional control about the benefit of learning emotional self-regulation, with examples of why it's important and how you get there, starting with a breath practice. So many people live with emotional dysregulation, and that's why breathing is an important part of it.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be discussing the third part of your model, which is what you call body reformation, tending to the physical body. So what would you like to share with us part of your model on that?
Well, first of all, I want to say this concept that we're discussing, integral wellness, is as timeless as the things that we were mentioning before. It's more important than ever now to feel integrally well. And this part of the model, the body reformation, actually starts with changing your mindset about your body. Kornelia, when I was a teenager, I had cellulite on my thighs and flat breasts, to tell you the truth. I mean, I was adorable. Come on, let's admit that. But I didn't have that little perky body that others had in high school. Later, I began to love my tall stature, my, flat physique, and I really appreciated it. I became a skinny mini for my wedding, like many people do. But with children and career and busyness and medication, I glommed on about probably upwards of 35 to 45 pounds. And I'm a kind of tall person, so I could handle it, but I knew how I felt. And that's why I titled this part of the model Body Reforming. I made a decision. I changed my own mindset eventually, but only beyond the time that I was tending to young children and tending to the community as a, premier volunteer, busy, right? I was making choices to do external things and sort of foregoing the internal of the consciousness and the body. When I was turning 50, I was age 47, I started coming back into myself through a story that you can read about in my books. We've talked about it before. It's what led to the mindset transformation. And I used the mindset to change my mind about my body. And I really, truly did begin to love and appreciate my body as it was. It was only after that I was saying, like, thank God for my healthy and strong body, albeit bigger than I wanted for sure. At that time, my husband worked out every day. He could go to the gym. I couldn't, right? And I really yearned for a different body, as many people do, and certainly most women do. Anyone who hasn't really tended to their body reforming in the past. It may be a whole body experience, it may be one area of the body or another. And so for me, this part of the model is absolutely vital. It's the third part in my model, but it could be the first part or the last part. Kornelia, when we feel better physically, we feel better emotionally, we feel better mentally, and even spiritually. So eventually, I made a decision to start working out, to exercise. I was busy and active, but I never had exercised really, honestly, since I was a child. And it was at that point that I want to get to something that's vitally important here, and that is this. After you change your mindset and decide that you could love yourself as you are, that is the point where you give yourself kind of self permission to get started doing what we call anything or doing something. We get started doing something. For me, it was walking. It was walking in a more concerted way than a little tiny stroll on the block with the dog. It was walking. That was my game changer, just walking. Walking is one of the best things that anyone can do. It's weight bearing, but it's slow. It can support your cardio if you speed up a little bit, but it definitely gets your systems going, Kornelia. It's simple, it's easy, it's free. Anyone can walk. And I do want to acknowledge, of course, there are some people sitting in wheelchairs listening to us. Of course, I understand there are some people with ailments that don't permit them to walk. And we hope and pray that they have other ways that they can be active, even if stationary. For most people who are able to walk, this is a fantastic way to begin to reform your body. If you create a program for yourself of consistent walking, your breathing will improve, your physique will improve, your strength and stamina will improve. And I'm talking about walking about a half mile out and a half mile back, Kornelia. It turned from walking to running with me eventually. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, but I really want to hit this, Kornelia. It's so important today. Eventually, I asked my daughter, who was a personal trainer, to get me into the gym to start lifting weights. I was 50 years old, Kornelia, when the time I lifted my first weight. And so I'm 62, turning 63 now, and I have muscles. Why? Because as you also do, Kornelia, I go to the gym and I commit and I do the work. Finally, Kornelia, on this progression, I just want to say how much I've learned that time is your friend. You don't plant seeds and the next day expect cucumbers. You plant seeds and then you water, weed, water more, and time helps, and sun, helps them grow. And that's how you can reform your body. I call it body reformation so that you can sort of create a mindset around this. We're not going for body perfection. We're really not. And I'm not. I'm happy when I get to the gym. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'm going for physical strength, stamina, and core balance to support me for the rest of my life. So, do you get me, Kornelia?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get it. It's like when we look at, the resistance that people have had to exercise, even the word exercise, the fact that people haven't been walking or making it a priority, or basically even using the exercise, the movement, the love for the physical body, the movement of the body for preventative maintenance, preventative aging, preventative health issues or whatever. Not using that and not making that a priority, that needs to be a core value right off the bat for everybody.
It really does, Cornelia. I mean, the mental, ailment that goes along with feeling unwell and feeling like you look unwell leads to being unwell. And I know I was there for a long time, and I just used to sit on the couch eating cookies and chips and wishing that my body were different. It's hard for, today I look like I work out, which I do. But in those years, for many years, I just wished, like many people listening to us now, that I could have muscles or look different or, have a better shape. And I just want to say again that, getting over the hump to imagining reforming yourself by loving yourself a little bit more, getting started, taking small steps, committing to it, making time your friend, and then what? Sticking with it. I remember the first time I got into the gym, my daughter was like Miss Trainer, Miss Workout. I could not I could not do anything. I couldn't literally do anything. She had me do a lap sit against the wall, and I was laughing hysterically. I couldn't even balance myself at all.
Wow.
And so I really do want to say I'm not I'm this is this was my journey. I started at age 50, and I didn't know then what I know now, which was I made choices about every single thing. I did lead organizations, I ran things, I was busy, I was important, and but I could have made different choices then if I had understood what we are talking about today, which is the importance of your physical health to your life and especially to your future. And so that's really why I'm so happy to talk about this aspect of integral wellness, Cornelia. You and I are both committed to working out and being strong, having good walking balance as we age, having stamina, etc. And I'm really grateful to you for the opportunity to speak about this, and really want to encourage people to understand what we're saying.
Yeah, and start now. Start now, start this minute, make the decision to begin and make that change. And I love the way that you laid it out by talking about, it's the first part of it is to really accept where you are, that, this is where you are, wherever you are, that to accept that part, and then slow but steady, not expect results immediately. It's going to take your consistency, your effort, your input, what you're putting
Yeah.
in order to see, because you didn't get where you are right now overnight. So
I
that
didn't. And Cornelia, I will tell you, I do, excuse me for saying, but I do kind of amaze myself a little bit. When I can lift weights, now he has me deadlifting and, doing clean lifts. And, I didn't go from there to here. It's been 12 into 13 years that, 13 to 14 years now. I think I was 49 ish when I started, that I've been doing this. And time can be your friend. And the whole initial do it for your good long health, that's really all we're talking about today.
let's tell the audience where they can look you up, your information, your social media, where they can find you.
Yeah, thank you so much. My website is whatwillyourlegacybe.com. And I really am all about that. It's really about living life in such a way that you will be remembered. You can find me in the Confidence Zone on YouTube with confidence coach Susan Axelrod, and under my name, Susan Axelrod, on Facebook. Please find me there. I have fun there every single day.
Excellent. I love it. Well, Susan, you just got back from Israel and you're looking amazing. The fact that you've just only been back a couple of days and here you are. So that just goes to show you must be all that good, body regulation that you're
It's true,
doing.
Cornelia. We go from strength to strength.
Yes,
Indeed,
absolutely.
indeed we do.
Well, you're looking well. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this important part of your model with us. And I look forward again to when we come back again to part 5. Maybe we'll do a part 2. Let's talk about it, you and I, and see if there was anything else that we needed to cover. And then we'll go from there. I
There's
want to
always more to discuss on the physical body.
Absolutely. I want to thank the audience for listening and tuning in. I hope that you found today's podcast as inspiring as it made me feel. And I look forward again to seeing you again next week, Friday. And I want to thank our producers as well and the Transformation Talk Network. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. And we'll see you again next Friday. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.